Hi guys, so this is just a video I'm putting together to respond to something I read about a mom that required her kids to say yes ma'am or yes sir. And so I just have some thoughts about that I want to share with you. And first of all, I think yes ma'am and yes sir is something that they use in the military. The whole thing behind that is to just show respect for somebody. But if you're going to be using yes ma'am, yes sir in your home with your children, you'll get respect, but what you won't get is a connection. And I always want my kids to say mom because it would hurt my feelings if they said Stephanie, because I'm not a Stephanie to them. I'm their mom. I've birthed all of my children. I am their mom, and I want them to call me mom. And to me, that's respect enough. So, if you're kind of on the fence about whether or not whether your kids should call you yes ma'am or do the yes sir thing, um, and this also depends on where you were raised, where you grew up. I mean, I know in some areas it's kind of more of a cultural thing, but here, um, especially where I'm at, it's not really a big deal over here. So I would encourage you not to try and implement something on your family just because you read about it and you think it's a good idea. If you're in that culture, it's already something they do over there. That's a little bit different because it's something your kids are going to be used to. They hear people saying it and doing it all the time. But when you're in an area where it's just not something that's very common, it's going to be a little bit challenging for you to implement that kind of stuff with your kids. And you'll end up being disappointed because it's a requirement that they're not going to be perfect at. And so essentially they're going to actually be getting in trouble for a standard that shouldn't have been there in the first place. But I'm not saying that there shouldn't be respect, but getting the respect this way is going to end up giving you respect that you're not really looking for as a parent, unless you want your kids to be conformers, which I don't think most of us want to do, because if we're raising conformers, then ultimately they're not going to be able to go out there into the world and be strong enough to do the things that they need to do. And you can teach your kids to be respectful to other people in general without requiring them to call you ma'am and sir. I just would encourage you that if you want to teach your children that it's polite and kind to say sir and ma'am to other people when we communicate with them, then that's fine. But if you're wanting to have a connection with your child that's deeper, then I would not require them to say ma'am and sir to you, but just mom and dad is more warm, and that's who you are, and that's really what will keep the connection with them. You want to be their mom. You want their dad to be their dad. It's warm. You don't want them to be like sir, yes, sir.